Hello, readers. Today I am going to read you an informational text. Remember that an informational text is a nonfiction text, and it gives us information and we learn from it. This informational text is called Forces, and it is by the author is Joy Brewster. Let's take a look at the table of contents. Hello, readers. Today I am going to read you an informational text. Remember that an informational text is a nonfiction. It is true. It gives us information about a topic, and we learn from that. Today, our informational text is called Forces, and the author is Joy Brewster. She wrote the words and teaches us about forces. Let's look at the photograph on the front cover. I see a person skiing, and they look like they're going really fast. I wonder how that skier is able to go really fast. Let's read and find out. Remember, boys and girls, we always want to be thinking about our pictures. We want to look at the pictures and learn from them. So we will make sure and do that during the story. Now, here's our table of contents. Table of contents tells us how the story or the text is set up. So we have words to think about on page 2, introduction on page 4, chapter 1, what is a force, is page 6. Chapter 2, how do we use forces, is on page 8. And chapter 3, how do forces change motion, on page 10. Then we will read the conclusion on page 14. Now, last time we talked about what the glossary and the index was, and that's on page 16. Here are some words to think about as we read. Force. A force is a push or a pull. Gravity. Gravity helps the skier move down the hill. Machine. The machine smooths the surface of the ice. Motion. These skaters are in motion as they glide across the ice. Pull. The dogs pull the sled across the snow. And push. The boy must push the snowblower to make it move. Introduction. Let's go, shouts your friend. He's waiting for you to push his sled. If you push the sled, then the sled will move down the hill. This book is about pushes. This book is also about pulls. A pull is the opposite of a push. All around you, pushes and pulls are at work. Now we have two photographs, two pictures to look at, and there are captions underneath. This one reads, "This man is pushing a sled." And I see two kids on there, and he is pushing the sled. In this photograph, the caption says, "This woman is pulling a sled." So they are showing push in this picture and pull in that picture. What is a force? A force is a push or a pull. A force can put objects in motion. Motion is when something is moving. What forces can you see on these pages? Well, I see them in this photograph pushing the snowball. to make it bigger and bigger to make a snowman. The caption says, if you push an object, then the object moves away from you. How about here? This looks like tug-of-war happening here. They're pulling the rope. If you pull an object, then the object moves towards you. Think about it in your house. I want you to find an object after the story that needs a push or a pull to make it move. See if you can find something in your house. How do we use forces? Forces allow us to move objects. Machines help us to use less force to do a job. Machines can push or pull objects. We use forces in nature. Moving air or wind is a force. Wind can push the blades of a windmill and make the blades spin. This caption says, a snowplow pushes the snow away. And here it says, a ski lift pulls people up the mountain so they can go skiing. This says, did you know people use windmills to make electricity? How do forces change motion? Jump in the air. Gravity pulls you down to the ground. Gravity is a force. If the earth did not have gravity, boys and girls, what do you think would happen if we did not have gravity that kept us on the ground? Are you thinking about it? Are you being a thinker? Yes. We would be floating all over, and everything would be floating all over if we didn't have gravity. If the earth did not have gravity, you would keep moving up and up and up. Friction is a force too. Kick a ball across the ground. The ball slows down because it rubs against the ground. The rubbing causes friction. In this caption, it says, gravity pulls a snowboarder to the ground. In this photograph, the caption says, friction slows the motion of a soccer ball because it's rubbing on the ground. And here there's a hockey player. It says, friction slows the motion of a hockey puck because it's rubbing on the ground. Some forces are big. Some forces are small. If you use a big force, then an object goes faster and farther. A small force only moves the object a little bit. An empty sled is easy to move. If your friend is riding on the sled, then the sled is heavier and it's harder to move. You need a bigger force to move a heavier sled. So here's some examples of that. This caption says, each dog adds more force. The sled with more dogs moves faster and farther than the one that only has 2 dogs. This caption says, which sled needs a bigger force to make it move? Which one do you think? Do you think it's this one where there's no one on the sled? Or do you think it's this one where 2 people are on the sled? This one with the 2 people on it would need a bigger force to make it move because the people are heavier on it than the empty sled. Conclusion. A force is a push or a pull. A force can make an object move. A force can also slow or stop an object's motion. We use forces every day. Forces can be big or small. Now, boys and girls, on this side, I am seeing pictures of examples of pushes. I see this man pushing this boy on that inner tube. I see the snowplow pushing the snow off the road. And I'm seeing the hockey player push that puck with his stick. What do we see over here, boys and girls? What are you noticing in these pictures? I see a sled with a child on it. What is the mother doing? Is she pushing? She's pulling. She's pulling her child on that sled. So that is opposite of, she is pulling is opposite of pushing. The people are getting a ride up the mountain to ski. That is it. It is pulling them up to the top of the mountain. And in this picture, I see the snowboarder. Remember, they said that gravity helps that that snowboarder get down that hill. Snowboarder. I should know that. My son snowboards. All right. Let's turn the page. Now, we're just looking here at the glossary. Remember, the glossary is a tool in an informational text that gives you the definition of the vocabulary words. Like here is force, and it says a push or a pull. So if you needed to know the meaning of a word, you could look in the back in the glossary. Now, down here is the index. It gives you the page numbers of where you can find those words. So if you want to go back and reread it again, that's how you would find what page it is on. Now I'm going to go back to one page right here. I really think, boys and girls, it would be really interesting to ride on one of these sleds that dogs are pulling. I just think that would be fun and exciting. Now, that's my opinion. We've talked about that during the school year. When you give your opinion, it's the way you feel. It's your idea. Okay? So, what I want you to do today is think about this text. Think about the pictures. And I want you to give your opinion about something in this informational text. Talk with your mom or your dad about something, a picture or something in here that caught your eye, and give your opinion about it, your idea about that picture. All right. Thanks for listening, readers. We'll see you again.